Okay, today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. In honor of Halloween, I wanted to talk about the paranormal or the supernatural, whatever you want to call it. And so I wanted to share an experience that I had about 12 years ago. All right, so it was about 12 or 13 years ago. I was living in the middle of Brazil, like geographically, pretty much right in the middle. It was near, the big city I was near was Goiânia, and I was living in this little town called Hidrolândia. And I was serving a Mormon mission or LDS mission. And while I was in Brazil, I had quite a few spiritual experiences, and I actually wrote them all down in this little reddish, orangish book. And so I went and found that book to brush up on this story that I wanted to tell today, because I knew I wrote it down and I wanted to know if I was remembering it accurately. And so I went and found it the other day, pulled it out of the bin, and read this experience. And it turns out I recently told this story, and the way I told it is almost exactly the same way that I wrote it down 24 hours, within 24 hours of it actually happening. So all of that to say, this experience was incredibly impactful because it was so kind of terrifying in the moment. And so I want to share this experience with you in honor of Halloween. Okay, so to set this up, I need to give a little bit of background in terms of like what happens on a mission. So you are assigned to work with another missionary for at a minimum of 6 weeks, which is called a transfer. So one transfer is 6 weeks, and like I said, you don't really get to choose your companion, and oftentimes that means that you're going to be with someone that you might not get along with. And so for this story, I was with an American companion, and just so you know, it's always the same gender. You're never paired up with someone of the opposite gender. So I was with this other American missionary, and we were out in the middle of a very small town on the outskirts of Goiânia, and we didn't get along. I really did not like this missionary, and I'm not going to get into why or anything because it's not really important to the story, but for the story you need to know that I didn't really care to talk to this person. So, and that sounds mean, but it was just like, we just weren't like friends. And I had companions that I was really good friends with that I'm still in touch with. But anyways, so this particular missionary, he would talk in his sleep, and he was American, but when he would talk in his sleep, it was always in Portuguese, and he was almost always teaching a lesson, because that's what we do as missionaries. We go around and we proselyte, we knock on people's doors and teach lessons about what we believe and about the church to try and get them to convert. So I would often wake up in the middle of the night, and this missionary would be talking in his sleep, or rather teaching in his sleep, and it was incredibly obnoxious. Just added to another reason why I didn't really get along with him, because he'd always wake me up in the middle of the freaking night speaking Portuguese. Anyway, so this particular night, I woke up to him talking, and I just laid there for a little bit trying to get back to sleep. But something else happened this night, and I will never forget this. So like he was speaking Portuguese, kind of rambling on about our first lesson, and all of a sudden he stopped talking. And as soon as he stopped talking, it was apparent that there was something else in the room, or someone else. And I remember looking towards where the door would be. I mean, it was pitch black in this room. Like, if I were to hold my hand up in front of my face, I wouldn't be able to see my hand. It was pitch black. But I remember looking to where the door would be and feeling like there was something or someone standing there. And it was such an eerie feeling. And it was dead silent. And whatever was there, like, I could feel it moving towards me. Okay? And at this point, my companion that was laying in the bed across the room, he started to kind of like whimper almost. And as the whatever it was came across the room. I was laying on my side, kind of looking into the middle of the room, and my bed's a couple feet off the ground, and whatever it was, like, it came across the room, and then it crouched down and it looked at me like dead in the eyes. And I like I said, I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. I could feel whatever it was face to face with me, looking at me while I was looking at it, even though I couldn't see anything. And it was the most powerful, overwhelming feeling. And I couldn't move. Like, I just remember being frozen out of fear. And as I laid there, it felt like forever. But I remember in the moment thinking, okay, I need to pray. I need to get whatever this is out of here. And the best way to do that is going to be to pray. And so I started to pray. And I remember there was like this feeling of, it wasn't malicious. Like, whatever this thing was, I remember thinking as I started to pray, like, this isn't malicious. This, whatever this is it's kind of curious. But it was also like very much dominating, and it whatever it was wanted me to know that it is there, and it knows that I'm here, and now I know that it's there. It was kind of like a curious thing, but also like it wanted me to know it was there. Anyways, after what felt like forever, the whatever it was slowly backed up, stood up or went up, and then slowly exited the room. And as the whatever it was left, my companion stopped whimpering. And I didn't know what he was doing, or if he felt the same thing I was feeling, or even if he was awake, because the next day we didn't talk about it. And because like I said, I didn't really care to talk to this kid. He was obnoxious and pretentious and self-absorbed. We did not get along. And so anyway, I never really talked to him about it, but that feeling of that thing being right in front of me, and like looking at me in the eyes, I will never forget that feeling. I have no doubt that there will be people that kind of doubt that happened, and I totally get that. Like, I am a serial skeptic. If you've watched any of my videos, you should know that by now, that I am very skeptical. But I will never forget that experience. The interesting thing, though, is that I can look at that experience through two different lenses: the lens that I had on at the time, and the lens that I see life through now. I'm not saying that either one is right or better, but it's just different, and it's interesting to me to think about that. Because back then, I was in Brazil for religion, and so the way that I saw life at the time was very religious, was very spiritual, was very supernatural. And so, the way that I interpreted that experience, the story that I told myself, was very religious. And the lens through which I see life now is less religious. And I'm not going to say it's not spiritual, because I do have a spiritual side to my life, but it's just different. There are people in this world, and probably people watching this video, that believe in the supernatural and the paranormal. They believe in ghosts and spirits, and that we can, interact or encounter these things. Then there are other people that are the polar opposite, that believe that there's only rational and scientific explanations behind something, and they will study things to try and figure that out. And then there's skeptics that don't really know, but are open to hearing things and listening to stories, but at the end of the day they're not convinced. And on top of all of that, everyone is from a different everyone has different cultures and backgrounds and life experiences that shape the way that we see these experiences. And so everyone's going to have a different interpretation of that. And that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, this happened. This feeling, this experience that I had was real. And I interpreted it at the time to mean a certain thing. And I'm interpreting it now in a different way. The narrative that I told myself back then was something about, you know, the adversary and evil spirits and temptation. Like, that was the lens through which I saw that. And now I don't really know what I think about it. And I don't think it really matters. All I know is that it's something that happened, and maybe that's because I fit in that skeptic category. I just don't really know. Even though it happened to me, I don't know what it means. Anyways, I hope this was interesting to you. If you have any experiences, I'd love to know the lens through which you saw it at the time, and if things have changed, how they've changed. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and as always, share this with someone and share maybe your paranormal or supernatural experience. Thanks for watching.